Welcome to Reckoning Brothers, everybody. I'm Mark, and that's Scott in Los Angeles. What's going on, Scott?
Just keeping a low profile, defending the American way of life however I can, whenever the need to defend it presents itself to me. Are you drinking Jameson, you cheap bitch? You cheap piece of shit.
Triple distilled.
Why? Why? Yeah. Shit distilled 3 times, just like 3 times the bullshit.
Do you know that Redbreast is made by Jameson?
It's better. That's all I know.
Did you know that it was made by Jameson? Is the question.
I didn't.
See? So I'm not owned as I slowly shrink into a corn cob.
Well, did you know that Chipotle is owned by McDonald's, but I would much rather have one of their fucking burritos and a fucking Filet-O-Fish?
Filet-O-Fish are good, though. Do you remember so this is since we're doing a cultural thing, American culture thing, do you know Ode to Billy Joe, the song?
Doesn't ring a bell, no.
You don't know Ode to Billy Joe, the song?
It doesn't ring a bell.
The day Billy Joe tossed him off the threw himself off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
I don't know. All I know is you sang, so I'm obviously going to have to
Bobby
edit that
Gentry.
out. Okay, I know who that is. Okay.
The day Billy Joe tossed himself off the Tallahatchie Bridge. You didn't know that?
No.
You don't know that song?
No, man. I don't know that song.
So the story is it's a love story between two teenagers in Mississippi, and, in rural, poor Mississippi, right? In Tallahatchie County, I think, right? And one of them is just out of high school, and the girl is still in high school, and he keeps pursuing her, and she keeps playing hard to get, and her parents won't let her, let boys come courting yet. The boyfriend is playing. You know who Robbie Benson is?
Dude, you keep bringing up all these references from like 1922. I have no idea who you're talking about.
Robbie Benson was a big Hollywood actor, a teen actor in the 70s and 80s. He was very popular. He was a handsome kid. And so he was, along with Leif Garrett.
I know Scott Baio. That's my response.
Along with Leif Garrett and Scott Baio and David Cassidy. And all the girls loved him.
I will give you $50 if you can tell me the origin of why you started telling this story.
I had no idea that Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge because he felt guilty about having gay sex with another guy. It was his boss at the mill. Had gay sex with his boss at the mill. And there's a scene in it where, they don't show anything like that. It's all implied. And you don't
if
find out.
If they made it now, they would show everything. They
would
show
be
him
like
bend him over like a fucking just a bunch of bushels of fucking grain.
Like
he's just bent over and just fucking railing him. And then he looks at the cameras like, I dare you to say something, bigot. I dare you.
Scott, what do you think about Dr. Fauci taking so we don't plan anything on this podcast. We don't rehearse anything. We don't.
A little bit. We don't rehearse, but we talk a little bit.
A little bit. Like I say, what do you want to talk about? And you go, I don't know. And then I say, and then you go, what do you want to talk about? And I say, I don't know. And then one of us
No. That's not what happens. And then when I say, what do you want to talk about? And you're like, how the Jews are ruining the world. And I'm like, let's not talk about this time for once.
So what do you think about Dr. Fauci?
I'll tell you.
Pleading the fifth 131 times or however many times it was.
I understand from his perspective why he wants to do it, and I understand from America's perspective why it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And the fact that somebody can be so full of themselves and so in that mindset that they're special and that other people don't matter is gross to me in every single way. I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I had the jabs. Even when I thought, is this a little fucked up? I'm like, no. I'm being a conspiracy theorist, right? I can't be that, right? The government's not that fucked. But if you look at everything that's available, The man was not giving us factual information. He was playing the, oh, I know public policy, right? I am a public health expert.
I
I
am the
don't need to give
science.
the fact.
I
I am the
am the
science, which
science.
is the opposite of what the scientific method is. Look back at fucking ninth grade fucking physical science and understand what the fucking scientific method is, people. It is the opposite of I am the science. It is designed to be the exact opposite of what he said. And none of this is controversial. None of this should be hard. I don't want to be an anti-Fauci person. I don't want to be on that team, but I'm not getting any reason not to be. What do you think about it?
My question to you is, what radicalized you during the pandemic? That was a question that was posed this week on Twitter X, and I don't think anybody can point to a single answer. People will say, this is what radicalized me, and they'll put a picture up. Like, I put a picture up of Dr. Fauci sitting with 3 other people in the top row of a baseball game, where no one was allowed in the baseball park that day because of the lockdowns, right? No one was allowed to go to baseball games, and they're in the nosebleed section, way up high, 20,000 feet up in the air, and he's wearing a mask that's pulled down to his chin. He's outdoors, and then the other people that are with him have masks on too. There's no science behind wearing masks outdoors. There was never any science for any of that. There's no
Are you going
science.
to tell me there was no science behind the stay 6 feet away from people claim?
Oh, he got roasted. He got roasted about that. Somebody put together a compilation on that, and I'll send it to. Did I send that to you?
You did, although I can't stand when people say compilation instead of compilation, but I'm going to let that go.
Compilation. Okay, I will change that just for you.
Thank you.
Compilation.
But no, it's wild. And I did not know that about the baseball game. That's fucking crazy.
So yeah, so like it's on the chin 1 minute, it's over their face the next, it's covering the mouth but not the nose the next. That wasn't what radicalized me. It's one of the things that radicalized me, and it might have been the first thing that I saw where I said to myself, "Wait a minute," because this was fairly early in the pandemic. It was in the summer of 2020. There was this guy who's like the science man, and he's wearing a mask outdoors in a huge baseball stadium in the nosebleed section with no other people around except the 3 people that he was with. And I was like, what in the goddamn fuck am I looking at? And then
yeah. I'm sorry, let me ask you this. Were you like me? Did you have to kind of be dragged, kind of kicking and screaming almost in a way to being anti public health establishment? For me, it was difficult because I think I didn't want to be. I wanted to think that the grown-ups were in charge. Did you feel that way?
I had to be dragged kicking and screaming, and it took a while. So the vaccine became available in December of 2020, mid-December, and that's when they started getting it out to nursing homes and the elderly. And I got vaccinated with both doses of the Moderna the moment I became eligible.
Me too.
And if you recall, they did it in a tiered level where it was people 65 and over or 70 and over, and then people in another tier, between
and trans people, and then African Americans,
right?
And then gays.
And it became available to me in late March or early April of 2021. And I got my first dose of the Moderna, and then 30 days later, got my second dose of the Moderna. And then before I traveled to California to see you in December of that year, I got the booster. And shortly thereafter, we found out that the reason I got the shot was a lie. I got vaccinated because I was told that if I was vaccinated, I couldn't infect anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm was relatively healthy. Um,
So would you say most people, I know there was a reason I got it, but I would be willing to bet nearly my life most people got the shot because they were told they could not spread COVID if they got the shot. That's why you got it. That's why I got it. Would you say that's why pretty much everyone
I
you
think
know
the
got it?
elderly got the shot because they were told, and correctly so, that it would protect them from hospitalization and death.
Fair, very fair, very fair.
Okay,
That's what it should have been used for. Very fair.
and for the vast majority of the rest of the population, that was incorrect.
Or for those who already had it and had immunity,
With the
which
exception
I,
of those with comorbidities, obese people, people with diabetes, etc. I have no comorbidities. I'm not
but
obese.
you're basically saying that who you are as an individual matters, and you should probably discuss it with your doctor, and it shouldn't just be a blanket thing that everybody is forced to get.
Correct. I'm still glad that I got it. And the reason for that is because I had a family member who died 12 years younger than me, not an ounce of fat. It was an Air Force Ranger for 9 years in great physical condition. He did not get vaccinated because he was opposed to the vaccine for any reason. He's a small businessman who was really busy, and he kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and kept saying, "Yeah, I'll probably get it, but I've just been so busy lately." And he works outside mostly, right? He languished in the hospital for 2 weeks and died a horrible
Mm.
death. And it was a terrible thing because he didn't go to the hospital when he should have, because he kept listening to the public service messages that Dr. Fauci and the rest of the public health officials kept um, kept putting out there, which was, don't go to the hospital. You're going to infect other people. Do a Zoom call with a provider. So he got very sick and waited like 4 or 5 days, being very ill at home by himself. And it wasn't until his daughter got very concerned about how sick he was getting, came over and said, "Dad, you're really sick. You need to go to a hospital." And by the time he got there, it was too late. He had to be intubated almost
Mm.
immediately. They never got his blood oxygen level up. It fluctuated, and he died a horrible death after 2 weeks. Um, so I'm because that was a possibility, because I saw that as a possibility, even though I was not in a vulnerable group. I'm still glad that I got the shots, but I got the shots because I was told that that was going to stop the pandemic. If everybody got a shot, you couldn't infect anybody, and it would stop the pandemic there in its tracks. They kept saying that and the media repeated the line over and over and over. You can go back and watch the clips.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of clips out there. I vividly remember, getting a call from my mother's husband. It feels weird to call him my stepdad when they got married only like 4 years ago, but my mother's husband, saying, pray for your mother. She's in the hospital with COVID. The doctors say she might not make it. Thank sweet tiny infant baby Jesus she did. And my wife's mother, same exact thing. It was not an easy phase to go through.
When did they get
And
sick, Scott?
early, it was early on in the pandemic. They were very early on in it,
So
both
is it
of them.
2020 before the vaccine was
Oh yeah,
available?
yeah, yeah. My wife's mom got it, and then as she was recovering, kind of, is when my mom got it.
So they got the
So
original strain. So the
they
first
got
two,
the original strain for sure.
the original strain was way more virulent
Yeah.
than and then the second strain, and you had Omicron.
Which, if you look into virology, that's just what happens
That's what
too, by the
happens.
way. Like, it's what happens.
Like,
And there's no way that these people don't fucking know that. But they
yeah,
don't, I don't know. I'm ashamed of our country for thinking that we can't handle things on a more individual basis, and we have to have these blanket ineffective policies because we don't trust a normal human. I'm not saying that there's not reasons to be afraid of the crowd, but this was failed policies all
Let's go.
around.
Yeah, let's go through a list of some things. So I told you what radicalized me, and I pinpointed Dr. Fauci wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, alone, outside, etc.
Fair, yeah.
Um, what was one of the first things that radicalized you? Was it when you found out that
As cliche as it probably is when I found out that getting the jab did not stop transmission of the virus.
for me it was, so as a follow-on to the Fauci thing, it was closing down beaches,
Ooh, that was a big one. Yeah.
arresting people going to church but not arresting people going to the liquor store.
Things like here in Los Angeles, the woman that could not open up her restaurant, and she showed video of people filming all together eating food that were allowed to do that because they were part of the Hollywood film industry. Things like that are extremely frustrating when you realize that if you have just there's such a cliche, if you have connections to power, you can get away with shit. If you don't and you're a plebe, you are a victim to shitty policy.
Everybody who had power, was connected to power, was doing the opposite of what they were telling everybody else to do. Gavin
French
Newsom was
laundry, bitch.
Gavin Newsom
French
was having
laundry.
unmasked parties at the French Laundry. Nancy Pelosi was telling everybody to go
And
to.
these people haven't been punished. These people haven't been punished. And that's why the Anthony Fauci thing is so big right now. People want punishment. In the person that is the symbol for whatever, better or worse, what fucking ever, is on stand saying, I plead the fifth. That's the world that we're living in right now. And there's still people that think that this isn't a big deal. This is a fucking huge deal psychologically for America right now. Oh, you're showing me your screen. These experts have signed. Oh, I remember that. Remember that? The real disease was racism. So if
Dozens, let's just
you were
read it.
anti-racist,
Let's just read it for anybody who missed it. Dozens of public health and disease experts have signed an open letter in support of the nationwide anti-racism protests. Quote, white supremacy is a lethal public health issue that predates and contributes to COVID-19. And the person in the photo has a mask on that says they can't breathe.
NPR is a joke. They have disgraced themselves. If you do something like this, I don't know how you can possibly come back from that brink. NPR has embarrassed themselves so many times. So many other organizations
They
have.
closed skateboard parks. They closed outdoor parks for kids to play at. They closed outdoor pools. They closed the outdoor pool at my apartment complex, which is a private property. And it wasn't even public health officials that closed it or ordered it closed. It was a bureaucrat with the public affairs division at Montgomery County who sent an email out to apartment complex property managers saying, you're going to have to close your pool to help control the pandemic, right? And they took that as an order.
Mark, you know who Michael Malice is, right?
Yeah. Let me just land the plane real quick.
Finish.
There was no science whatsoever behind closing an outdoor, a chlorinated pool outdoors. In the sunshine, outdoors, chlorinated. Michael Malice, please continue.
Michael Malice. He talks a lot. He's Russian by birth, raised in America. Talks a lot about communism, Russian communism. He says the thing to be worried about is the petty bureaucrat. That's why we need to be afraid of communism and authoritarianism. It's the person with the pen that gets off on that bit of power, like you just mentioned, the person closing the pool. It's the person that enjoys it. That's what we need to be scared about, because it's not about the science. It's about empowering pathetic piece of shit authoritarians that get off on controlling you. You need to not empower them. Otherwise, the experiment that is America is over. Am I wrong, Mark?
No, you're absolutely correct. And I just want to say, without my background in media, I would not have known that a bureaucrat shut down the pools on private property in the county that I live in. Obviously, a public health official has the power to tell public pools at hotels, municipal and county pools. Obviously, a public health official has the power to tell those pools to shut down. A person in public affairs at the county level does not, and there's no science behind it. So I said to the property manager, well, who was it? Because I wanted to use the fucking pool. I said, well, who said that you can't have the pool open? The county did. Well, who at the county told you that? I was immediately skeptical. For one thing, I know that a public health official would probably not tell somebody. You can't tell can't tell somebody that owns a piece of private property to shut their pool down. No public health official has the power, nor do I believe that a public health official would try to tell Joe Sixpack, who has a pool in his backyard, that he has to shut it down for the summer or 2 summers. Or where I live, it was 2.5 summers. There were 2020, 2021, and half of 2022. They kept the pool closed. So what did Mark do? Mark made phone calls. Mark dug and dug, and Mark finally got to the person who was the one that sent out the email to private property owners telling them you have to shut your pool down. And they all did it. It was the deputy director of public affairs at my county that got that done. And when I asked her on the phone, I said, well, who was it that told you to do that? Did somebody at the Department of Health tell you? No. Nobody at the Department of Health told me to do it. Well, was it a collection of doctors that told you? No. No doctors told me to do that. Were there scientists involved? No. What led you to do that? Well, I thought it would be a good idea since there's a pandemic. What led you to believe you had the power to tell somebody who owns a piece of private property that they have to shut down their pool? Well, I thought it would be a good idea since there was a pandemic going on. And what science led you to believe that being outdoors in the sunshine at a pool that is filled with chlorine would be a vector for COVID? And I got dead silence. What else radicalized you, Scott? They shut down the skate parks.
I don't think anything really. It wasn't any one thing. Like I said, I had to kind of be dragged kicking.
Was it a compilation of things?
It was a compilation of things that that dragged me there. Like, it's because I don't want to. Michael Malice is absolutely right, but I don't want to believe that Michael Malice is right because it makes things more difficult. And it makes me look at an average person who I don't want to dislike or think negatively of and think that person has a demon inside of them that I need to be aware of, and I need to live my life accordingly. And that's difficult. It's my own weakness that kept me from seeing things as I should have seen them. And that's shameful and embarrassing. Just like everything else in one's life, I think we're all just kind of afraid to see our own darknesses and our own weaknesses.
And I want to say about Dr. Fauci pleading the fifth. He has every right to do that, and I understand why he did it. The legal reason why he did it is because he doesn't want to be prosecuted for committing perjury in front of Congress. And he's worried that he might say something that would be used against him that's not covered by the pardon that he already has, right? Because
could you imagine being a person so invested in yourself that when you're so important to how people in America and maybe even the world live their lives for years, to where you won't try to make things right because you're afraid of potential negative things in your life that probably won't amount to much when all is said and done. Can you imagine being that fucking person? Can you imagine being that fucking person? I can't.
Brother, you just rolled it up and you licked that little glue strip right there, right? With that, do what's right. I understand why he did it, and he has every right to have done it, but it was not the right thing to do.
Exactly.
It was not the right thing to do. The right thing to do would have been to answer questions, because there's a lot of them.
Because it's not fucking about you, bitch.
Yeah,
it's
there's a ton of questions that he should be answering.
Italian American piece of shit. No offense to Italian Americans. Some of my best friends are Italian Americans.
Remember another Italian American, Governor DeSantis, when he said somebody needs to chuck that little elf across the Potomac.
It's just so.
No, just the whole list of things, the whole list of questions that people have, that the American people have a right to know the answer to. Dr. Fauci, you said that you never ordered schools to be closed, but you did recommend that they be closed. Do you regret that, considering the adverse effects that we now know happened in the wake of...
What is his maximum exposure to risk by answering these questions, honestly? Like, is he going to spend jail time? No. Is he going to have some minor inconvenience and maybe some of his vast wealth taken away? Yes. And you're not willing to do it? You're a fucking egomaniac. You're a fucking narcissist. Go fuck every inch of yourself, dude. I don't respect you. Fuck off. And please, if there's anything I'm missing here to lead me to a different conclusion, tell me. But
no, man, and I really, in the wake of the whole deal that happened on Capitol Hill, and I saw all of his defenders still calling him a hero, right? The Krasenstein brothers, every Democratic member of Congress, everyone on the left, praising him for his dedication to public health.
Those who already get their spiritual meaning through their partisanship, they're not worth paying attention to. They're like fucking religious cultists. They can fuck off. They're not part of an adult conversation. Go fuck.
And they're not willing, and none of them are willing to look at factual things that are true, things that are axiomatically true. Wearing a mask outdoors and supporting outdoor mask mandates was bizarre and not scientific in any way, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Force masking toddlers.
Dude, I can't. It almost brings me to tears watching that viral video of the 2-year-old boy like that won't keep the mask on his face, and it's all for no fucking reason. Like some fuck. Here's the moral of all this, as far as I'm concerned. Fuck authoritarians. Fuck each and every one of you. If you are one, fuck off. Get out of the gene pool. I don't respect you. Go fuck yourself.
Wow, Scott. That was pretty radicalized.